And the other thing I saw was that Christianity was one of the religions who burned libraries and destroyed the paraphernalia of worship for other culture. Deity, any statue, any object, any altar that wasn't to their tradition, they would destroy it. The amount of bloodshed that the Christian religion has in its history, and library burning and persecution, inquisitions, is actually just a horror story.
Christians have effectively destroyed various indigenous nations in North America. The Guanche of the Canary Islands, the Aborigines of Tasmanians, and the Selk'nam of Tierra del Fuego, and many other cultures, including Australia and Africa. Now they want to destroy the great Vedic culture of India. But before we go into it, let's explore our Vedic culture first. Vedic culture or Hinduism has influenced the world all over, and it influenced the world without using evangelism or military conquests that are generally used by the Westerners or other countries to influence. One of the reasons is because of its depth and university of Vedic philosophies encompassing concepts like dharma and karma, and this resonated with thinkers and scholars worldwide. The intellectual richness attracted those seeking profound spiritual philosophies. The Vedic cultural narratives, art forms, and literary works captivated audiences beyond India. Epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, along with classical dance and music, played a pivotal role in disseminating cultural values and histories. Indian universities such as Nalanda and Takshashila attracted students from various regions in the ancient times. These scholars carried back Vedic knowledge and practice to their homelands and facilitating cultural diffusion. Indian merchants established extensive trade networks, particularly with South Asia and Arabia. These interactions facilitated the exchange of goods and ideas, leading to organic assimilation of Vedic cultural elements by societies. Hinduism's diverse philosophies such as Vedanta and yoga have enriched global spiritual discourses. Meditation is practiced everywhere in the world. Yoga is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the West, and there is International Yoga Day. Cambodia's Angkor Wat and Indonesia's Prambanan Temple are influenced by Indian architecture. Uh, Sanskrit has implicated languages in South Asia, and also it is considered as a root language for the European languages.
India is the place where the world's most sophisticated language, Sanskrit, was devised. Language that was perfected. Perfected for what? As a programming language to pass knowledge forward through history.
Festivals like Diwali are observed worldwide, promoting cultural unity and understanding.
Happy Diwali to everyone. This year Diwali is so special. First time in the history of New York City, school will be closed on Friday, November 1st.
Classical Indian music and dance form rooted in Vedic traditions have gained international acclaim and influence. Ancient Hindu scholars contributed significantly to mathematics, astronomy, including concepts like zero and decimal system.
We so take the idea of zero for granted in our modern age, but where did this number first appear? Well, amazingly, mathematics was really vibrant in the Indian subcontinent, and we find zero being talked about for the first time there. And why this manuscript, the Bakshali manuscript, is so important is this seems to be the first place that we see this idea of zero beginning to be born.
The Surya Siddhant, which goes back into the Hori of time, estimated to be somewhere around 15 to 25,000 years ago. He is talking about the speed of light as 2,202 yojanas. Today, we have arrived at the same numbers with great difficulty with all kinds of instruments.
The most astounding thing about this treatise is its impeccable accuracy in astronomical calculations. It is the oldest book in the world which describes Earth as a sphere. It talks about gravity and how the planets are bound to the Sun by an invisible attraction. It describes the sidereal periods of planets as well as the diameter of the various planets with absolute accuracy.
Hanuman Chalisa mentions the distance between the earth and the sun. Juk Sahasra Jojan Parbhanu. One yug is 12,000 years. Sahasra is 1,000 years. And Yojan is 8 miles. When we multiply everything, we get Parbhanu, that is 96 million miles. Now 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. When we multiply this 1.6 kilometers with 96 million miles, we get 153,600,000 kilometers, and that is the distance between the earth and the sun.
You remember Pythagoras theorem, right? A square plus B square equal to C square. We have mentions of this theory in a book called Baudhyana Salpa Sutra 200 years before the time period of Pythagoras. This Indian mathematician Baudhyana also wrote about the value of pi and the method of finding the square root of 2 and many more things.
Ayurveda, the term Ayurveda comes from the Sanskrit. It is the knowledge or science of life. It's among the world's oldest continuously practiced prevention and healing systems. It's been in practice for an estimated 5,000 years. It started as an oral tradition passed down from teacher to student across multiple generations. Its main focus is the prevention of disease and promotion of positive health. And health is defined as a state of balance of mind, body, spirit, and environment.
Sushruta is regarded to be the father of surgery. Sushruta covers a broad spectrum of medical science, emphasizing surgery, including topics like plastic surgery, anatomy, physiology, pathology, and treatments for various diseases. Sushruta provides detailed insights into the classification and pathogenesis of burns, categorizing them into 4 degrees based on symptoms and signs. Sushruta outlines an ointment recipe for treating burns, consisting of beeswax, madhuka, rodra, sajarasa, Magister, sandalwood, and myrrh.
Advaita Vedanta and many other practices from India have, been popularized by many Indian gurus, created the spiritual movement in the 60s of America. The words like avatar, bungalow, chutney, karma, pandit, guru, nirvana, pajamas, shampoo, thug, these are all Indian words that are used around the world today. Many big influencers and scientists and philosophers like Arthur Schopenhauer, a German philosopher, was deeply influenced by the Upanishads, ancient Hindu scriptures. He regarded them as the most profitable and elevating reading. Henry David Thoreau, an American transcendentalist and author of Walden, was inspired by Hindu philosophy, especially the Bhagavad Gita. He incorporated the concepts in his daily practices. French Schlegel, German poet and philosopher, Schlegel believed that everything came from India, including language, thought, and poetry. His studies contributed to early enthusiasm for Indian culture in Europe. Robert Oppenheimer, an American physicist, father of the atomic bomb, learned Sanskrit and read Bhagavad Gita in its original language. He often quoted from it. Max Muller, a German-born philologist, Orientalist. Muller was a pioneer in study of ancient texts. His translations and interpretations of Vedas and Upanishads played a significant role in introducing Indian philosophy to the West. Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American essayist and leader of transcendentalist movement, Emerson was influenced by Indian scriptures, incorporating concepts like oversoul, akin to the Hindu idea of Brahmin, into the philosophy. Aldous Huxley, an English writer and philosopher, was deeply influenced by Vedanta and Indian mysticism, which is evident in works of perennial philosophy, where he explored universal truths found across religions and Hinduism. T.S. Eliot, an American British poet, incorporated themes from Upanishads into his poetry, notably his seminal Wasteland. These are just a few philosophers, but there are many others who have been influenced by the Vedic culture and Hinduism. As you have seen, India has excelled in pretty much everything. You know, um, Hinduism, is the ancient sciences and knowledge. You could study Hinduism as a Gnostic or an atheist, like Vedanta teaches. Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma is the science, knowledge, tools, techniques, processes, philosophy, math, astronomy, physics, literature, poetry, methodology, terminology, psychology, sociology, physiology, and just about every significant concept that you can find in the world. Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, and Vedic culture has already excelled. While the West, you know, was blind to it until late 1500s. They had the concept that the earth was flat and sun revolved around the earth. There are some traces that say that, Greek philosophers about 2000 years ago, only few people knew, one or two, maybe 10 people maximum knew about it, and it was in secret societies. They weren't spread and came out much later. The Europeans, Western civilization has been always nomadic, fighting, butchering, killing each other. Now let's look at our temples. These are the surviving remnants. Apart from our yoga and other sciences, temples show engineering feats and many incredible things. That the Ajanta and Ellora caves, located in Maharashtra, they are carved out of a single rock. It's huge. It's about 200,000 tons of stone had to be excavated, and not a single mistake is there in all of that. They say that this is just a marvel and a miracle.
Welcome to Kailasa Temple.
This ancient temple in India was built with a technology we still can't explain.
How did they do it? We can only theorize. There are no definite answers.
Did you know? The Gavi Gangadhareshwara temple in Bengaluru is a stunning example of India's ancient architectural brilliance. Every year, on Makar Sankranti, the sun's rays align perfectly to light up the Shivalingam, a rare and divine phenomenon.
Praveen Mohan, a researcher and explorer of ancient Indian temples, documented numerous architecture marvels.
Wow.
Wow.
Sound is silver and gold sound.
Wow.
Oh. Yes. With silver and gold. Wow. उधर से metal sound आ रहे.
Wow.
Minute walls आ रहे. Oh my God.
Here's a carving found in an ancient temple. It shows something mind-boggling, a sperm approaching an ovum just prior to fertilization. In another ancient temple, you can see something even more strange, a single cell. This is unmistakable because it looks circular, like an egg cell, with a round nucleus at the center. So what happens when a sperm unites with this egg cell? A new life called zygote or embryo is formed, and it starts to divide rapidly. The fertilized egg starts to split into two cells. Again, this is clearly shown in the same temple, in the same place. Then it starts to split into 4 cells. Again, this cell division is also clearly shown in the same temple, side by side, as though they're giving us a step-by-step explanation of the process. There are carvings showing fetus with the umbilical cord attached, clearly in a fetal position, just like how we are able to see them with advanced technology now. There are other carvings showing stylized form of the human fetus as well. In the village of Sirukarumbur, there is a weird carving. Again, it shows an unborn baby, a fetus inside the womb, in the fetal position. These carvings of fetuses are found in several ancient temples. How did they confirm if she's pregnant? Today, doctors do an ultrasound by putting a device on a woman's belly to see the baby and its developments. In Cambodia, here a doctor is seen holding a very similar device on the belly of a woman doing the exact same test, checking for pregnancy. Archaeologists confirm this carving is more than 900 years old.
Mahakumbh, the miracle of bringing more than 500 million people to one place, Prayagraj, over 45-day period. This is an accomplishment in Sanatana Dharma. Never in the entire history of Earth, more than 500 million people got together in one place to exchange education, their learnings, their philosophies, and their traditions and techniques. This is a completely a Hindu Sanatana Dharma festival. Even 50 million foreigners came to visit this. Christians have hundreds of billions of dollars, and there are about 2.5 billion people in the world, but they couldn't come together. Muslims have 56 countries in the world, and they couldn't come together like this too. So it's only a phenomenon that happens in Sanatana Dharma. It is the quality of Vedic culture. India is the oldest surviving civilization going back 15,000 years. No other culture like this survived. This is the oldest surviving tradition of the world. Sanatana Dharma survived despite pillage by Muslims for over 800 years and brutal, covert, cunning manipulations and murder by British colonials. It survived because Sanatana Dharma does not have a head.
One thing was the people who invaded, powered by the force of their religion or by their economic interest. One thing was the culture and the civilization was so complex and profound, they could not figure it out. So one of them, invader, had a real discussion with the people and said, how do we just burn out this Hindu way of life? Because they thought it's another religion. I belong to one religion, so you must belong to another religion. How else? But that's what they never figured out. Who is the Pope? Let's kill him. That's the idea. So they said, no, there are hundreds of them. So they killed all the 100, but still it didn't die, because there was never a leadership. It's every individual seeking their own thing and everybody accepting that. That was the only organization we had. So they never figured this, because they always believed you must belong to some entity.
How are the Indians doing today? It only has been 75 years since India got independence.
Google, Adobe, Microsoft, and IBM are all run by people who grew up in India.
Indian people are the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. They're not only CEOs, they are in the top level management like vice presidents and directors, and even management. Up to 30% of management in American tech companies are Indians. This is Indians being accomplished everywhere. And these people, especially the CEOs, they are not Muslim Indians or Christian Indians. They are Hindu Indians. The highest earning ethnicity in the United States, it is Indians. Indians own majority of the land around London. Indians own about 70% of motel business in America.
Hotels are estimated to own 80 to 90% of motels in smaller towns, including the less favorable redneck regions.
Hinduism is all about celebrating life. Hindus, because of long history and such a diversified culture, Hindus have the largest number of foods, largest number of sweets, largest number of pickles, largest number of festivals, largest number of dances, largest number of musical notes, largest variety of jewelry, largest number of cloth weaving techniques, largest number of spices, largest number of languages, largest number of written scripts, largest number of religious scriptures, largest number of gods, largest number of ways to reach God, largest number of health techniques, hundreds of yoga, meditation, and pranayama techniques, largest number of years of historical traditions, and now even largest number of movies in the world. This is the civilization, the traditions, the culture that the Christians hate, and that's what they want to destroy. In the next video, we will talk about how Christians are using many resources and tools to destroy Vedic culture. Please like, share, comment.